My name is Steffen Schmidt, and I'm professor of political science. I have an interest in information technology, information security, cyber crime, cyber terrorism, and so on. You may be familiar with the two books that my co-author Mike McCoy and I wrote. This one is called Who is You? It may sound like the title is wrong, but it is actually correct, and it's the coming epidemic of identity theft. That book sold so well, and we had so many demands that we wrote a second book called The Silent Crime. And The Silent Crime is kind of a follow-up on the other one. It's called What You Need to Know About Identity Theft. I wanted to just cover briefly some issues that I call cyber challenges and ask you a question at the end that you can keep in mind for discussions with your professors and your fellow students. So let's take a look at what we have here. Of course, we talk about cyber challenges as anything that has to do with the internet. I want to ask you this question: what percent of email is not spam? What do you think? Well, if you guessed that only 5% is not spam, you would have it right. This is from the ENISA, which is a European cybersecurity agency, and less than 5% of email is actually delivered to inboxes because of anti-spam programs that catch all that spam. So if you think you're getting a lot of spam, you are not getting 95% of it. Some of it slips through, but it's an astonishing volume. And of course, some of it is more than just unnecessary, time-consuming, and costly. Some of it actually is pretty risky, and you need to be very careful when you are dealing with spam, because it can hurt you, as they say. You can look at the complete story on that slide if you want to. Another recent piece of information is that password stealing has become extremely popular, and perhaps is now the most popular form of taking people's identities and other information. And so a stolen Twitter account, for example, can get you $1,000, and the person who buys it for $1,000 can steal a lot of useful information off that Twitter account. They look in all of those social networking and other applications. They are looking for banking passwords and gaming credentials, and also getting just information about people from Facebook and so on. Kaspersky, who has a consulting firm and as a security firm, said that in 2009 there were 70,000 programs that steal passwords from people, twice the number before, and 63% of all password stealing and Trojan programs come from China, and 12 from Russia, and I guess the rest from other places. So tremendous problem. Identity theft is, of course, a frightening and terrible thing. The Federal Trade Commission now reports that 1 person out of every 4 is going to become a victim. Think about, 4 people that you know sitting around having a beer or having a beverage or a pizza. 1 out of those 4 people is likely to have their identity stolen. Tremendous statistic. We have looked at that issue in various different ways, and have actually implemented some video and some discussions of this whole issue. At insideriowa.com, you can go look at some of this stuff.
Well, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about identity theft. It's the #1 fastest growing crime in the United States, and identity theft is serious business. Most people don't think about it a lot and ignore it, but it can cause a lot of trouble financially. It can cause a lot of problems related to your passport and your driver's license. If somebody steals your identity, your vital information, and gets a passport or a driver's license in your name, they can do a lot of damage. Last week, the breaking story on identity theft was that the wife of the head of the Federal Reserve, Ben Bernanke, had her identity basically stolen when her purse, was stolen at a Starbucks in the Washington, D.C. area. Now, the thing that amazed me was that what she had in her purse was, of course, driver's license and credit cards and maybe a checkbook and things like that. But the one piece of document that she had in there that shocked me was she had her Social Security card in her purse. Now, Mrs. Bernanke is a smart lady, and she should know better. Social Security card is issued to you as a number in order to accumulate revenue in your Social Security account so that if you become disabled or you retire, you can get a pension. It is not a piece of identification that you ever want to carry with you or put at risk. Mine is in my safe at the bank. And so that was a lesson, I thought, that was very valuable, because with that Social Security number, with that card, plus her driver's license, which gives her birth date and birthplace, you can go and get almost any document issued in the name of that person. And what happened here was this ring of thieves that had been stealing purses and identities all around the Washington, D.C. area didn't know who Mrs. Bernanke was, or I guess they might have not tried to mess with her. But they basically went to a bank, had a check written on her account, which they then deposited.
Well, that's, I think, enough of that, but you get the point there. Identity theft is a really big issue, and it should be taken very seriously, and people should be very careful. And we do have a lot of at stake, a lot of government stake in creating e-government in order to pursue, prosecute, prevent, and protect people from identity theft.